Hi everyone, welcome to our review for the surprise album, meaning nobody expected it, for Atmosphere, Whenever. Yep, the album's called Whenever, so instead of talking about it whenever, we're going to talk about Atmosphere now. Go through the project track by track, giving our thoughts and opinions on every single song. My name is Holden, Stephan Roy.
My name is Chris Chrome.
This is the Headspace Podcast, the show where we break down the new hip-hop albums track by track. And yeah, we're going to get to it real quick. Care a lot about your comments, a lot about your feedback. We understand that you probably are more familiar with Atmosphere and more connected to it because you clicked on a long-ass review for Atmosphere, whereas we are learning on the fly, trying to keep up and stuff. And in most cases, the comments are an awesome source of awesomeness, but sometimes we talk about Fat Joe, and we talk about Dre from Cool and Dre, and how they made an album together last week. And, well, I personally felt Fat Joe, while I'll give him full credit, has a super gangster presence, right? Like, he owns the track with every word he spits. I felt that in a lot of cases, every word he spit was not that substantial, and I had some qualms, we'll say, just listening to him, and ideological differences. Maybe it's my millennial ass against his next generation over. I don't really know, but there were quite a few okay boomer moments for me during that project review. Beats were great, whatever. Dre, he actually made some efforts to like educate the youth and act like a grown-ass man. I felt Fat Joe just wanted to tell me his life was better than mine, and in general, I don't support that kind of stuff anymore because the world has evolved and it just shows a lack of awareness, in my opinion, for the common narrative of life that we all have a shared experience. And frankly, who the fuck cares about rich people being rich anymore? I guess that's just my point of view. Y'all Atmosphere fans probably relate to that more than the Fat Joe fans did. So on that review, Remy Mafia Promotion shows up. Keep in mind, this is a person with 0 subscribers, so it's either Remy Ma or a rando. But I thought, imagine this is Remy Ma undercover, just completely trashing down my review. That would have been awesome. I digress. She goes, it was a whole bunch of fucking comments, whole bunch of shit. We got the "you're white, what the fuck do you understand" comment, all sorts of "you fucked up." It was mostly targeted at me though. He was off the hook. I was the hater. Allow me to be clear. I believe to be a hater, you have to be kind of jealous. I'm not jealous of Fat Joe. I'm just not. I like the sense of how I live more than I like the values he puts up. It's not really hatering. Just I was disliking it. I was maybe combative. Combative I would take as a word. But anyway, who has a better album today? Fuck out of here. Are you fucking daft? Atmosphere has a better album. They just dropped it today or whatever, we're talking about it. This is a better album. Griselda Records dropped What Would Sheen Do? West Side Gun, whatever, his project was better. Haley Where's Hair May 7. Conway the Machines, his album was better. Benny the Butcher dropped Time to Talk 3. Plugs them at fucking dope albums. I mean, can we talk about how this year alone, what was it, Beast Coast did a crazy, awesome collaborative album. I'm just talking about great albums that came out that were more
Igor.
I mean, I wouldn't put that against Fat Joe. That was kind of, that's more like
Igor.
Igor's a good album, but like, it's kind of, I wouldn't put it against that, like saying it's Fly. You know, like it's not the same kind of Fly.
But, okay, maybe not Fly, but in terms of just like a better album.
I don't think Igor's a better album per se because it's comparing different things. They're doing different things. I wouldn't put that comparison there because that wouldn't win an argument against Remy Mafia Promotion, who says our review is trash and that we lost whatever credibility we thought we had. Ain't nobody agreeing with you. Okay. I mean, thank you for your comment, Remy Mafia Promotions. In general, I'm not really worried if y'all agree with me or not. In fact, I hope that I can say things that you do disagree with, and then you can say things that maybe I disagree with, and we can educate each other and learn, because that's how good discourse goes. All I'm trying to say is what I love about that comment is it dropped right before YouTube changed its harassment policies, and people like that who leave those kinds of like attacking, spammy comments, and this isn't like my opinion here. This is YouTube changed its policies last week.
Right.
Those kinds of comments are probably gonna get fucked up and like taken off the channel, and that makes me so sad because one of the easiest and most fun thing to do is to respond to these people in a way where you absolutely know they are going to come back, click, have the ad play again, and then comment. And I'm sad that these people are going to get filtered off the channel. Because while I love the people with super supportive comments, they don't want to argue with me and prove me wrong. They're like really just cool and respectful. So it's like one, couple comments. But the people who hate me, fuck, they comment a lot. And I like it. I digress. That's some
Fucking the game up.
That's some beginning intro shit, which by now hopefully you know to skip. If you're new here and you check the description, you can see the itinerary. I digress. I know sometimes I post that stuff. I hope you guys don't think that like I'm offended by a comment from a person telling me my opinion's invalid. But after this a couple of years, I've gotten my fair share of comments saying my opinion's completely invalid.
Yep.
But it was just funny to me. Like, it was just funny. I had a good laugh. I enjoyed it. So thank you, Remy Mafia Promotions, for making my life a little better. Because I feel a lot more like Slug lately as we migrate back into this. So before we jump in, special thanks to the Patreons, people who I'm hoping care about my opinion. Just some empirical evidence and shit. Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black Hurricane, Linda Williams, Coney Sparks, and Scribble. I kind of like saying Scribble. That's a fucking fun name to say. What album are we talking about today, Christopher?
So for this week's Headspace review, we went with the new Atmosphere album, Whenever.
Fair enough. Can we just comment that Eminem beat Nick Cannon by tweeting? Like, his tweets outperformed diss songs. And I know it's silly to care about that, but fuck, it's tabloid awesomeness. And I just thought it was one of the, again, a funny moment that happened this week in hip-hop life. But on serious notes, let's talk about some quality shit. It's the part of the show where we like to contextualize the familiarity with the artist, because we learned along the way that if we act like we know it all, y'all gonna be upset. And it's just better to tell y'all this is the level of fan I'm at with this particular artist, so you know how objective / subjective / everything I'm gonna be coming into it, etc. So in my case, I hadn't really listened to a lot of Atmosphere before starting this channel, but trying to find a balance is a fucking banger. And I knew Slug could battle rap and stuff because I'd seen some footage, and like I kind of knew how talented he was. Then we did whatever Vito Loca album that came out. I don't know if you even did that one. I did that one, and yo, Ant blew my mind. And then it was like 3 weeks in a row of like production from Ant in my life, because I think we just done Brother Ali's album, and then Dim Atlas came out, and it was all Ant, and I was like, holy shit, I think Ant is one of my new favorite producers. Like, so just knowing his name is on something is enough to make me get a little music stiffy ready to go and like bump that shit. And then Slug, you know what I like about this dude, at least in his current iteration? I mean, you go to his Twitter page, it says #DadRap. You're like, I like you already. Like, I'm 32 years old. If I'm gonna be listening to an older cat, I kind of want to have some idea what like life's to come. Because, you know, like when you're 15, you'd listen to the people in the mid-20s because they're kind of like painting this picture a little bit of like life to come.
I think my only point that I want to connect to with like, that's why, for me, I think that's why the Fat Joe review may have been a little bit that way, just because he's like older but kind of acting like the same way instead of like giving us a glimpse of what we
You know what my problem with the Fat Joe review was? That guy, outside of music, is such an awesome individual.
Right.
He's such a cool guy for all the amazing things he does.
Right.
And I just wish that was reflected in his music more, as opposed to flossing at me like that's all that matters, because that's a hot song from like 97. And I don't mean that to be like haterism. It's just I'm hoping to see certain things happen as the musical landscape changes. And one of them is older people rapping about older people things. As in, if you're in your 40s, there's a... Like, if you're in your 40s and your life is a constant party, to me, that's, like, not relatable. That's probably not what my life's gonna be like. Even if I pop off and I'm successful on tour and stuff, I'm gonna be the cat hitting the hotel room early so I can get up the next day and not be a cranky old man. Because, you know, I'm in my 30s now.
Right.
I don't see people, like, living the way music makes life look. And it creates, like, this illusionary thing. So what I discovered on the last Atmosphere album is how fucking everything I like, man. It's just, like, regular shit. Like the song Trim, when he's just like, I just want to fuck my wife, and she doesn't necessarily want to fuck when I want to fuck, and it's complicated. So he made a whole song almost begging her to smash in the convenient moments when the kids aren't there. And I'm like, yeah, that could be my future. It's nice to know that, like, it's interesting in a way where I feel like it's memorable, or like the acknowledgement of another, I forgot which track it was, but another one, it's like he acknowledged his like aging and how he's a little bit more tired and rusty.
I think it's more like it kind of gives you answers. Like for somebody like me, it kind of gives you answers. Like when I hear about, family situations, or like how to deal with kids, or how my favorite rappers are doing XYZ, it's like, I'm not saying that I can relate directly, but if that were to happen in my life, it's like I have somebody to look up to or whatnot.
But it's like everyone's willing to give common sense for like teenagers and young 20s people, but like it's not exactly like those of us now in our 30s have great parental role models all of a sudden. Nah, we still need you older cats that are successful and killing it to go show us shit, like that's what I'm trying to say. Either way, I thought, like, I don't know, I was pretty excited coming into this. There's just some great lines on this album, all things considered, in that same vein, but it's nice to see at least Atmospheres keeping it down in that regard. So I got real excited because I felt like regardless of the sounds or anything on this project, you're going to get something that maybe you can't connect to it if you're 21. But I think more older cats could capitalize on us millennial market, because here's the thing. Millennials have money now. We're not exactly as broke as we were. I mean, we're not balling. But you could probably get like merch sales and shit out of us if people started making music targeting people in the early 30s who have cash flow instead of focusing on broke ass 20-year-olds. Marketing advice from a guy that's not successful on YouTube. Yeah. I'm just telling you what I would buy. So look at it like true feedback from a potential client of yours, person on the internet. As an example, I'm probably going to buy K Reno's physical album that he dropped today, or his new album's out. Why? Because that dude writes albums that, again, I can learn from, in the same way that I think I might even consider copping a physical of the Atmosphere project we're talking to today. Spoiler alert, because I want my dollars to go towards things that I think are valuable to society. And I think, weirdly enough, Atmospheres...
Do they still count, though?
Why? Yeah.
Like
they counts for like 16,000 spins, man. It takes like 16,000 spins to be like, or whatever it is, 64,000, whatever fucking number it is, to be like asking. One physical. So it takes that much spinning to count as one purchase.
Oh, in terms of streaming era.
Yeah.
Oh shit. So, okay, so
like
thanks
actually
for my question.
Buying the album is one, as opposed to you spinning the album 100 times probably doesn't count as one.
Okay.
Anyway, so I was pretty excited to get into this, whatever. I mean, the cover is whatever. I don't know. I actually didn't even let Chris talk yet. I've just been babbling away. Chris, how do you feel about Atmosphere going into this?
This is my first Atmosphere project, I would say, ever. I've heard about him from Holden just in terms of Rhyme Sayers.
It's Rhyme Sayers.
And
they're good. Behind that suit supports Rhyme Sayers. I'd go on wax saying that.
Definitely.
If that counts or not.
So I kind of expected to get a lot of creativity, a lot of like lyricism and some just deepness, but I don't actually know what like their type of style is. It's not something I've ever heard before, what they kind of talk about.
I don't know how else to call it, but dad rap makes total sense to me.
Right, but I don't want to
They called it dad rap. It's not insulting if it's on their Twitter.
It's not that. It's just I've never heard it before. I don't want to falsely say that or whatnot, but after hearing the project, I guess I could say that.
Doesn't it just sound like some shit your dad would say? And we'll get into it, but
fair enough. I do agree.
I think the cover is ridiculous. It looks like a top-down view of probably a Minneapolis airport or something or another, and it just is so basic.
I like the concept of kind of being like whenever and having the whole airport plane theme, just kind of like being able to leave, trying to escape. Also, I feel like the title itself is kind of dark as well. Just it happens whenever. Like, you never really know when something's gonna happen. You never really know when life's about to change. You never really know when maybe you might pass or something like that. So I feel like there's a lot of symbolism to that word itself. But I do agree that the album cover is kind of like, it's nice, but it's like,
I'm gonna remember it,
yes.
and I think it works then. And it looks pretty like identifiable at like the tiny thumbnail size, so it works.
I like the color scheme.
And it probably took minimal effort for like a designer to make. Oh, I don't know, maybe they had to edit it because it looks like there's like a crash going on in the bottom right corner, right? So it looks like on the top right it's fucking dope, but in the bottom right something fucking smashed on the ground. So maybe they did some work on it. Either way, I like the title Whenever. It just kind of makes it sound like, you know, like you're in your middle age, time, you know, you're not in a rush anymore. You're just gonna do things whenever, have it go through.
Fair enough.
But on the real, before we get into it, I think the album's a story. I think it's just a proper sequence, evolves like actual story, and maybe I'm wrong about who the story is about, but I think it's time that we talk about this lake in Minneapolis. I think it's Minneapolis, whatever freaking state it is. Bde Maka Ska. So Genius says this is the largest lake in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I got confused because I'm not good at U.S. geography, being a Montreal boy. Chris, what do you think it is, Tune?
I like the starting off of it. They gave us a couple like 30 seconds to kind of really just feel the music and get into the album, which was really nice. I'm kind of biased to piano keys. I really have also decided I want to learn how to play piano and a bunch of stuff, just to give you a little context on how much I love the piano sound and just the way that people kind of use them to the different melodies and stuff. So it was really great for me. So we kind of come in, and I also just want to state, like, a lot of what he might talk about is going to go over my head. I may not catch a lot of, like, what the entire message of the song is, but there are a lot of parts that I do, you know, myself kind of connect with, and I like. So what I kind of get from starting off here is we get the intro, and he starts with, I think it's Slug, right, who does all the verses, and then, like, because Atmosphere is the duo between Ant and Slug, right?
Slug's the rapper. And then
Ant is the producer.
Yeah.
So Slug starts off with the intro, kind of like very soft toned, very, for me, has this disconnect feel, but at the same time, it's kind of also lively a little bit. It's weird. I'm at the bottom of already knew I was. I'm at the bottom of already knew I was. And you kind of get this feeling like he's feeling down. He's feeling dark. He's kind of in a mood. There's stuff going on. He's kind of foreshadowing some like negative energy there. And we just go right into the verse, which was really nice because he flows so well, and it's like a mixture of rap but also like spoken word. Like not every rhyme always connects. He just kind of ends it if he feels like it's time to end it and just give you that point.
I'd say everything connects in a proper, like, the rhymes work. It's just he fucks it up in a cool way.
Cool. I like how he starts it off. So I'm looking at the lake while I'm trying to break into your traffic.
I'm looking at the lake while I'm waiting to break. So looking at the lake, waiting to break, that rhymes. Into your traffic, yeah, it's overly dramatic, again, rhyming. But it only takes one bad trip, keeping the rhyme, to leave you holier than magic, keeping the rhyme. I'm all alone, he flips it here. I feel it all in my bones, keeping the. I'm just trying to say that.
No, of course.
The rhyme is proper. Like, it's flowing amazingly.
Absolutely. I wasn't trying to like diss the rhyming or anything like that or anything on his flow. But I like those lines because already I'm kind of getting like, I like how I'm looking at the lake while I'm waiting to break into your traffic, like as if he wants to kind of jump into like the waves, into whatever's happening. I like how he's addressing that it's already over dramatic, that he's kind of thinking these thoughts and thinking these ways, which is the self-analyzing that happens right there for me was like, that's cool. Like you understand what's kind of happening around you, and I feel like a lot of people might get lost, but he seems to be very self-aware, so that was cool. But it only takes one bad trip to leave you holier than magic, which for me it kind of feels like maybe we're getting this story of like a bad trip, like a bad adventure, but I kind of take it as like, you know, it could be a double entendre for if you're like when you take drugs or something like that and you are kind of spiraling out of control, you have a bad trip, you kind of flip 180 and maybe try to change your life around or whatnot, which is what I kind of got from those lines. Now we start to get into him feeling alone, feels whatever. I don't really know what he's feeling besides just, I guess, loneliness. It's all in his bones. It's probably why he's not going home, which for me, I guess now is starting to break open the story that there's some issues at home. And just the descriptive nature of this is really, really cool in terms of telling us the story. And he kind of flows on I'm sitting in the passenger seat of my own car. I don't know where my keys are, sipping on a warm Lone Star. In the sky don't sponsor my house. That's why I pay no mind to what comes out their mouth. Like, it's just I can vision what he's saying, but I don't.
That's actually a key to the bigger story of that line, right?
You're gonna have to kind of break down the story because I got.
So you gotta picture him, like he's in his car, he's kind of reminiscing. You know, when you get that bad trip, holier than magic, it kind of implies maybe you're right. There's some kind of intoxication tainting some shit that makes you look at it all in a different way. So he's kind of looking at it like, I'm not going home. I'm sitting in my car. I don't know where so he's like, you know, it sounds to me like he's reached this pivotal moment in a relationship where something's flipped up and changed, right? But when he kind of looks like, I stopped pretending like I knew what to do and let the universe push the needle into the groove. It's kind of like this whole vibe here is now he's switched. Like, he's decided that he is parting ways with what made sense within the context of this relationship. But he seems to be like a relatively married guy going, and it didn't look like he was getting divorced. And then as the album went on, it made me consider, what if he's just talking about hip hop as a whole? And this whole album is kind of him reflecting on like his relationship with hip hop culture, how it looks today, how he fits into it, and all of that. So if you look at that from the metaphor of even going home, being like, how do I drop an album and go do this circuit again? Where's my place in this modern world? I'm an old guy who doesn't necessarily social media. I'm not, and I like that tone of it because I don't want a TikTok. Now that's popping up. Like, I look at TikTok and I'm like, fuck, eh? And I'm hitting that age where this kind of stuff is starting to happen to me, whether I like it or not, simply because I'm getting older. So, and then I kind of like as he like flows through, it's no substitute for the love of the truth, so who the fuck am I to be a judge for you? And I think that's an interesting point too, because does his opinion even count anymore? Is he even part of the conversation? And that level of self-awareness where maybe he doesn't agree with it, but it's also not really his place to say it's wrong. So he kind of falls back, lets it play out, watches it, and then you get that line, and maybe later we can talk about the weather, pick a day and we can try to get together. So this sounds to me like what happens when you get older. You have friends that you want to see, but the truth about friendships as you get older in this current world, especially if you're on the grind, is that person is not making money with you in some way or another. That person is probably not going to be in your life very often. So it's the people who can have collective projects and communal interests that are actively involved in things. And everyone acts like, the friendships and connections we make are so forever, until you realize that they're so forever unless that person moves or that one gets a girlfriend or that. And the next thing you know, anyway. So the way he's painting it is his relationship with this thing that is kind of like that. Like, they've grown apart. Like, they can't find a way to, like, connect, And
I like how he's doing it, though. Like, because I kind of take it as maybe he doesn't know what to write. Maybe he doesn't know what song to write next. And every time he tries to, let's call it that date, right? Like, sit down and try to write something, listen to some music or whatnot, he just kind of feels that tension. He feels there's, like, this conflict, maybe with himself or maybe with, like, hip-hop. So it's cool.
And then I do think he does take a little kind of criticism at it all. How the temperature reacts to your temper, and like a shot for the messenger. It's not a mess if you control the stress. Never let it get the best of you. Shit, it's easier said than done. I think that's kind of commenting on how he believes it's supposed to be life, but acknowledging things are complicated. If we can't get free, might as well get dumb. And that's an interesting way to describe, like, I guess, the state and tone of maturity. It's like a lot of people feel that there's no way to achieve real freedom, so what's the fucking point? May as well get litty, you know what I'm saying? Let's keep it rolling, document the whole thing. Now we're thinking, the way social media kind of puts everything live and whatnot.
Well, I kind of took it more as also like and a lot of the music that gets like played and bumped is a lot of just like the escapism music, not really giving a fuck about a lot of shit, you know, like just kind of club music and stuff like that, which is where I feel like there's some criticism on that too. Like we need more, you know,
it's like
call it
everything's
wisdom or knowledge in music.
I don't think that's what it is. It's how to make it. Because there's a fuck ton of wisdom and knowledge in music. The problem is that the consumers and the marketing machines and the things that attract people isn't that. So the landscape of what people want isn't that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, because that's what like people want XYZ type of music, and I feel like he's commenting on that, on like, because y'all want this, I guess we should just be dumb instead of like waking up being woke or whatever.
I think he's kind of looking at it like describing what it takes to make it, or fame, or the relationship of current day hip-hop culture. And I don't know that it's simply limited to club music or whatever. It's a commentary on like, because the consumer can't find conscious awareness, they're choosing the stupidest shit and the lowest common denominator to escape.
Okay.
So like, in a sense, the culture of what we all accept and what we want, and the authoritative figures and whose voice counts and everything's shifting in a way where I think he's kind of aging out of it and acknowledging, like, I don't agree with where you're going with it. It's stupid to me, but I don't know. I shapeshift to make it fit in any opening. The halo's gonna stay debatable until I grow some wings. You're not supposed to need a boulevard of broken dreams. Hey, that's a good song. To build the world, to fill up your bag with some groceries. I want that middle of the lake serenity. That's why I stay alive inside your energy. And it kind of looks like he doesn't think that you're supposed to end up with this, you know, the way that you're supposed to rise up today. To me, he doesn't agree with it, you know, is how I'm taking that. He doesn't think that you're supposed to do all of the things that people are doing, in a sense, smashing their lives, you know, putting every bit of heartbreak and everything out on display like that. It's one thing to make poetic rhymes of coping. It's another thing to have Twitter drama fuel your success more than the actual art that you create. Like, let's be real, 6ix9ine didn't pop because of his music. It was everything else. And then his music happened to be good enough.
Fair enough.
And I like how he ties it back to that lake serenity, because when you're in the lake and it's calm and peaceful, the name of it is like a local lake, and it almost kind of pictures him. You can almost be like him as a youth, starting it out near the lake, spitting, finding it there, and then now coming back to their older on, trying to like reconnect with that earlier vibe that once came in. And it's almost like this is documenting his relationship, trying to reintegrate it into hip-hop, or his current feelings on it all. But I like how abstract it is. I like how old man and honest it is. Like, this is probably how it feels. It's for a lot of people. And instead of trying to come in and floss about wealth and success, to just kind of look at the fact that you're kind of outgrowing what this current trend is. It's right. So interesting. And the Ant is ridiculous. Like, it's so good. And the way the beat just flows and just kind of creates this vibe. The only thing I would say is I can't see myself listening to this album regularly, because its BPM count is so fucking slow, where it's amazing and it's so good music. But like, I rarely listen to music this slow in any context, which kind of sucks because of how good this is. Mm-hmm. And that would be it. So it's a 4.5 on 5 for me.
I give it a 4.2.
Anyway, next up is Push Play. I feel like this one is kind of simultaneously talking about his wife or a woman that he cares about. Like, I couldn't tell if it was like meant to be about a real person, but I think it's meant to double up and be both about real persons and, again, hip-hop.
I kind of took the same way when I got to this track. I felt like there was a two-parter to this, with hip-hop and with a woman, because I like how he's addressing this like context of being in the car with her and having like the mixtapes everywhere, and kind of I get this vision of like, you know, traveling, trying to sell your mixtape, trying to get people to hear it, trying to like, you know, go door to door or whatnot, while he's got this girl there that he may have, like, you know, he's infatuated with, and he's got something with there, and kind of just breaking down that struggle, which it plays really nicely with if this is like a story about his relationship with hip-hop, really plays off nicely the beginning, you know, like where he really started at the bottom, following up from like he started like I was at the bottom and all that from the last track. It's like you can really picture that, which I really did enjoy. So special. I like what he said. So special. It was so stressful and no rest for the devil on a weekday. And I'll remember the first time I met you. I wasn't really punk rock. Just a cheap skate. Go to sleep to waves on the freeway. Wake up wasted. Ain't nobody trying to see straight. Like he feels broken. Feels like he was maybe homeless.
I don't know. I look at that and it's like, in a rest for the devil on a weekday. I wonder if that's related to the idea of devil being white dude and like the 5%er kind of logic, right? So ain't no rest for like a honky on a weekday, you know, kind of putting in this grind. And I like your idea of, you know, trying to push mixtapes out the car and whatnot. And then I wasn't really punk rock, just a cheapskate. And it kind of looks like perhaps there was some questions to his credibility when he first comes in the game because he's a white dude or whatnot. And he kind of doesn't really fit in and nobody thinks it's authentic. I'm just speculating here. I might be wrong, but I think this is, again, looking back on everything. Looking up at me like I drove in a pumpkin but climbed inside, and you're trying to find something. If we're lucky enough to get drunk and fall in love, maybe decades later we could be arguing for nothing. So it's almost like finds this person, everyone's getting fucking wasted, and in the process he finds it, you know, whether it's the lane of rhyme sayers in the music or his wife or whatever it is,
which is cool because it's like the same idea in terms of like hip hop. Like eventually you make that, let's say, that song that pops and starts and kickstarts you into that fame, right? And then you start to reap the benefits of whatever comes with it, and you get kind of drunk with that and all that stuff, as well as maybe with a new relationship you go out to a drink, you get a little tipsy, whatever, and then you go back. It's
just like the way Art like puts it, like just to find that faith, so that in the end of it all, decades later, you're just arguing over aimless shit like couples end up doing and stuff. I thought it was just so regular. The parts fit like a puzzle, and all of a sudden she let me put a couple slugs in the oven, and I really like that when he double entendres his name, because it's both like the gun bars, slugs, and oven, but it's also him putting sperm inside of her and procreating because he's now a dad. But it's also hip hop letting him drop his projects and fucking spreading his slug seed around the universe like that. So it's pretty fucking dope. Anyway, yeah, kind of moves his albums. The second verse, what I like is how like at the end of it kind of like stops and you can kind of like hear the tape coming out. There's a little pause, and then it's like, you know, just push play, don't even ask, running around in Minneapolis like it's the whole map, from the bottom of the rock to the top of the trash. They tried to blow but couldn't copy my jazz.
Well, that's where I take the whole like pushing out the CDs.
That's
it's
absolutely like his
but I like his determination. Like, yo, just press play. Like, don't even ask questions. You know, don't ask me where I'm from, whatever. Like, just do it. His belief in himself.
And then, yeah, basically, he kind of points out that other people couldn't necessarily jack his style because what he does is pretty authentic, and his whole like movement has been pretty powerful. I think they're one of the coolest forms of hip hop I've encountered, based on my preferences. All y'all don't have to agree. But I'm trying to slow it down, soften it, crash. But when I'm gone, I hope the last sound I heard was your laugh. The vanity played, say love life. But the look on your face, say uptight. I'm uptight because I ain't supposed to crawl. And then I held my breath and dove into the fall. And I like the poetic element, the vagueness of it all. Like, it feels like this jaded, like things aren't exactly what they're supposed to be. Like it wasn't simple, but like people seem to always be trying to like chill, you know? But it's hard to chill. It's hard to love life when everyone's so fucking uptight and anxious. And it actually drives me bonkers. Like, everyone's trying so fucking hard to be happy when, like, the truth is we're all pretty kind of stressed out and doing some shit.
I like to think of it also maybe kind of like, because you live that life of grinding, and you know, and you kind of live by the clock, right? Like, time's ticking, everything matters. You got to make sure you're always doing something and move forward. And then there's those people who are just like, yo, you need a break, you need to take a time to relax.
Oh, those people are just looking for distractions because it's the exact same thing. But everybody's feeling it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm trying.
I'm saying there's no difference. Everyone's feeling the same shit, and those people are just pretending. They think that the distractions make a difference, but they really just don't. You just push shit away. Anyway, I don't know. I kind of feel like he's sitting here and he goes, put the sad clown flag down, but not to surrender. I accept the challenge. Got me looking at the mirror like, I hear you crystal clear. You're still here. I'm going to play my position to the end of existence. I made this new playlist. Give it a listen. So I think what's interesting here is how even though we've gone through this like emotional journey on just 2 tracks of trying to fit into this new landscape of hip-hop, reminiscing on what it used to be like, you know, kind of looking at where it's at today, kind of looking at how everyone's trying to be so happy and fucking upbeat in pop culture, even though everyone's so fucking miserable, which is how I see it. And I kind of like how he's like, yeah, no, but that's my job, to come in here and do what I'm supposed to do. And it's almost like he reconnects with himself at the end of this track, and it's like, but I'm an MC. I'm going to do what I got to do till I die regardless. Check out this new album, which is what we're doing right now. Right. So I thought it was kind of meta, self-aware. It was alright. I didn't find the beat as engaging, so I gave it a 4.35, but I do think it was conceptually on point.
I gave the song a 4 on 5. I thought it was cool. I agree that I don't think the beat was as engaging as well, but I do like his like storytelling ability and how he can like really kind of take you places. It was really, really well done.
I also like how his voice cracks with that little squeak here and there, and like he just is almost trying to not make it sound perfect in the way he does his delivery. He's trying to show you how broken well, not necessarily broken, he's trying to show the emotion through the imperfection, and I think that's awesome. But then, man, everything we heard so far is nothing compared to what we find on Postal Lady. So I feel like this song is him kind of like, I don't know exactly where this fits into the timeline, but I'll break the song down to you in a sentence. He woke up in the morning, went through his routine, and got excited for the actually female hot Postal Lady dropping off mail.
I think it's more than that.
I know, but I also don't know that it's that much deeper.
So, Chris Chrome thought...
I mean, it does probably have its album-based narrative.
So in the first track, right, he kind of feels like he doesn't know how he's going to come back into the lane. Right, he kind of is talking about his struggle with hip-hop and maybe not feeling relevant or whatnot. Then we get the second track, which is kind of like, you know, dealing with the starting up of rap and having to push mixtapes and all that. So still feeling insecure and a little bit of that. What he says in this song about feeling like his signature is required, right, that kind of gives him that sense of hope, that sense of like, wow, I matter, that sense of value, like you need my signature before you can give me this package, like if I refuse it, you know. So I kind of take it like he's also expressing his crave.
The signature is required is because then he has to talk to her and she has to ring on the doorbell and open up the door, and he gets his opportunity to get some FaceTime with the hot little fucking lady. Because I look at this like this sounds to me like a married guy with kids.
Well, yes, as he like says hi to his wife and
I
he
wipe
pours
the crust out the
cereal.
corner of my eye. Fucking relatable, man. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, oh, it's crusty. I walk towards the kitchen and pour myself a coffee. Yeah. Fuck the cats. They come. But fuck the cats. The coffee's first. Probably steps on a Lego to verify I'm still alive and y'all ain't killed me already. Just kind of funny, right? Like the stress of everybody's whatever steps on the Lego. It's like, yep, some pain. I feel. Fuck the kids. Daddy loves you. I say what's up to the baby. Like, what's up, baby? You're such a baby, huh? And you know what's funny about that? Because if I was a fucking dad, I would look at my baby and call them a baby. Because that's a good dad joke. It's fucking funny, okay? Because that baby is literally a baby. And you can go, you're such a baby, you baby. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh, fucking Christ.
Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
This is my life. This is my future I'm hearing right here.
Oh, my God.
Then I find the other kids and give them all high fives. Because why the fuck not, right? This is an amazing song. Like, the world needs shit like this. Say good morning to my wife. It's a glorious life, right? And then I'm like, okay, it's kind of relatable. You know, wake up, she's there. And then, meow. And I'm like, no shit. Did he say meow? He did say meow. The greatest lyric on this album. I put some food in a cat's bowl. That way the cat doesn't think I'm an asshole. And I'm like, that is exactly why I feed the cat. I only feed the cat because the cat doesn't think I'm an asshole when I feed the cat. Before I fed the cat thought I was an asshole and I wasn't allowed to go near any cat. Now they know I feed them and I give them treats. So I feed the cat and I put food as a plate, but on the cat bowl, just so that the cats don't think I'm an asshole. And I'm like, there's never been like a lyric I think that might be like, that might be one of the most universal shits considering the popularity of cats. Maybe I'm going too far with it, but I have been so excited because you know when you hear a lyric that is just, it feels like a moment out of your life.
Yep.
That's that dad rap. Put some Cheerios in the bowl, blah, blah, blah. Then he flows on a bit, and he's kind of looking around, waiting for this super punctual post lady to come in. Waking up my phone so I can watch the clock. Like, there's a countdown, but there's not now. Unusual, you're punctual like a nail. So it's not that there's a countdown, but he knows she comes at 10:17 every morning. And he gets real excited, like this is the highlight of his fucking morning. And the package that's arriving, it's not mine, it's some shit that my wife ordered online. And I'm like, that's hilarious, because again, you're at work, you hear people complain. It's this is life. This is normal people shit. I don't mean to imply that hood shit's not normal people shit, because I realize how that could sound. But this is some relatable ass shit to me.
When you're not,
Let's say that I think a lot of people can relate to the experience of my wife ordered a lot of crap online, and then if civilization stops, the amount of shit she orders is so fucking excessive that I'm going to pettily point out that the cardboard boxes will still keep coming after civilization. Just taking shots at his wife like that. Hilarious, okay? Why? Because when you're in your 40s, I think this is a regular thing for most people, a lot more than real expensive fashion brands and mansions and telling women that they need you or else. No, instead she's telling you, I spent another $100 and a box is coming. Watch for it, please. That sounds more like what I understand relationships to be. It's not a problem. This ain't the time to address. It's a problem. This ain't the time to address it, though. Smart man. Because what he's about to say, I'm not trying to look for a midlife mess, but yo, here she come now. No words, no smiling. Just hands me my mail and walks to the horizon. So this whole song is he's got a crush on the fact that this postal lady's fucking hot. Actually attractive, not a sweaty dude. And basically every day he looks forward to her hot ass showing up, handing him mail, hoping it's a signature so she'll say a word to him or whatever, and he's crushing out, but he's also like, I'm not gonna do anything because like I don't want a fucking problem and whatnot, but he's being real and saying, gosh, I want to fucking smash the post lady. I don't know how it relates to the core theme of anything on the other part of the album in terms of like the part where it's hip-hop as a double entendre, but perhaps it is. Perhaps it's like he's coveting those newer styles and the fresher sounds, and he's kind of like, I could go do that, and then he chooses not to, and that's what the new post lady represents. I'm doubting it, but I just thought it was honest, because like, I mean, I'm certain it happens to everybody. You find some hot person, you just look at them, and you're like, wouldn't it be nice? And then you let it go because you're like, responsibilities and crap. Can we also acknowledge
my wife?
Another fucking great lyric. Postal Lady, a shout out to you. Go Postal Lady. She come, rain, sleet or snow. What the hell is sleet? Yo, I don't even know. Sleet, and I had to Google this because I didn't know, is the combination of snow and rain. There you go. That's sleet, a word that nobody fucking says. Then there's some Russian. And fun fact, I Google translated it and added an annotation so I could reference it later. Simultaneously, I see, like, right after, Chris follows me on Genius. And I'm like, did you go to, like, annotate this? He's like, yup. So let me contextualize it. Chris goes to do his first...
Okay, no, it wasn't like a complete annotation.
He's like, it's a Google Translate.
I was Google translating it to understand for the review. And then as I go switch back to Genius, it just got like the words got grayed. So I click it and Holden's name pops up and I'm like, of course.
Well, Chris just wanted to be the one to put the Google Translate in. I beat him by like...
Seconds.
Literal seconds. I thought that was amazing. And you should go on Genius and use... Well, apparently Pons is better than Google Translate, but you know what I'm trying to say. So it says, to translate it by Google, in fact, I don't know whether it is good or bad to experience emotions, because often because of emotions we do wrong, it affects our relationships and with other people and actions. Sometimes it seems to me that I would not want to feel anything at all because we constantly pour negativity into the closest people and they suffer for us. And that was an interesting point because it kind of reflects on the impact of emotions and the more extreme variety on other people around you, and questioning if being numb and not feeling and holding it in is actually worth it, or if having those emotions is worth it. I don't know. I thought it was an interesting way to tie it in, because one of those emotions could be lust for the Postal Lady when you're a family man, especially if she ain't giving you the trim. I thought this was an amazing song. It was just so... Like, this to me is it, man. I know how, like, most people probably don't want to hear some shit like this. But I listen to some stuff like that, and I'm like, just the fucking jadedness in it, the routine in it, the fucking, oh, this bullshit. Fuck off, cat. Okay, fine, I'll feed you. I don't want the cat to think I'm an asshole and all. And then the Post Lady's coming. The Post Lady's coming. It's just the most regular crap you're ever going to hear, and that's amazing to me. 5 on 5. This is a perfect fucking song.
I gave this song a 4.1.
That's fine. Your opinion is 4.1 compared to my 5. Oh, okay. I know. It's not nice to hate on each other. We should love each other. So again, this one kind of focuses on love, and I wonder, like, I'm pretty sure this whole album is like a retrospective of his both relationships, but with girls, women, his wife, and again hip-hop, because I think it's so interesting. And if we knew each other, maybe we would love each other, or maybe we would want to run far away to find a place the other could never discover.
Which I like that, because that's, for me, that kind of sounds like your typical saying that you like, you when you're talking about these feelings, like, oh, I want to run away with you, I want to do this, that, and the other. But the idea that if we're talking about it in like hip-hop, it's really cool to think like, if we were this, we could be booming. Like, if we did match up, if people did like my shit, if people boom, 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 or whatever he's feeling, we could take over.
But I also like the fact that it's like maybe we would love each other if we knew each other. So if I had that relationship with fame, I guess I would focus more on the fame, the popping side of it. Or maybe it would be awesome. Or maybe if we knew each other, we'd want to run away to find a place the other could never discover, because it's that, like, it could be anything moment. It could be the greatest ever. It's like, it could also be tumultuous and like terrible for my soul and whatnot. And I think that in a sense, like Postal Lady could be like his crush, his desire, and then we've moved forward with it. So now we're following that fantasy into, like, maybe he's pursuing it, and it's like gonna describe throughout the rest of the album as like a fair he's kind of painting out, which is still something like with hip hop. You know, and I might be wrong, but it does kind of sound like some sneaky shit going on. And if I was your lover, would you let yourself suffer? Would you ever have to give another second thought to whether or not you could discover something better off? But then you also go, it could be like he's back in the day meeting his wife in the beginning and describing that.
I wanted to touch upon, it's kind of interesting when you're talking about like the sneaky, like, sometimes myself, and it's not like a lot, but sometimes I kind of sit back and I go like, do I love hip-hop more than like anything else? Like, am I willing to maybe, give up my relationship, or, give up XYZ just to be part of hip-hop? And I feel like that's, a little sneaky. Like, if you're thinking, if we're saying he's a married man, he got kids and all this stuff, like, maybe he feels himself like, I'm kind of dealing with my side chick who just happens to be hip-hop. Like, my other love is just hip-hop. Like, I'm not really trying to, you know what I mean? Like,
so the affair is trying to make the balance between family man and artist man.
Because, like, I figure, like,
because he starts off in love with hip hop and then he gets married along the way. Holy shit!
Right?
Fair.
Right, so that's kind of what that's kind of how, and this is only happening because of the idea of the hip hop story. Throughout the review of my solo review of the album, I kind of thought of it a little bit that way, but it really does, for me, when I was reading it and going along, it really does play along on real relationships and stuff like that, the way I took it. So if we are talking about that, I think that could be it. And it's really interesting to deliver it that way, because it's like when you start off, right? And if I was your lover, would you let yourself suffer? Should you ever have to give another second thought to whether or not it could discover something better off? And it's like just right there, right? So not only is he questioning, I guess, let's say when he started to meet his wife, right? Do you think that you'll have these thoughts and all these things, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But now we kind of take it, or I kind of look at it as like him having a conversation with a female who we call hip hop. And it's like trying to I guess, convince her to love him, or to try to start a relationship with this person, but now dealing with that guilt of, crap, I love hip hop, but I also love my wife.
That's cool. I feel like we're discovering the deeper meanings as we go along together, and you guys watching this like 8 weeks in the future are like, these two are fucking morons. This shit came out yesterday for us.
I like how he goes, but if it turns out I was the right one, would you return to work this out like Hi Sean? And I like how it's like hip hop misses whoever's in jail. And then when that person comes out of jail, we accept them.
It's also like hip hop moved on from Atmosphere, and then it's
that's
like
what I'm trying to say.
Rekindling, and it's like it's almost like an old ex. And then you're like, I mean, if it turns out that we were really actually supposed to be together, would you work it out? You know, I should remind you, I'm just one fish. There's an ocean full. You could take your pick. So if we're saying like maybe the GOAT or the quest to be the best or all that, right? And then hip hop has all these choices, and would they really come back and pick little Sluggy over here?
Which that idea, right? Like just the way he singles out to be the one, and then if we're talking about hip hop, it relates to like the GOAT, the ultimate rapper, right? Like that is some, for me, that kind of shows like heavy self-belief. Like he really believes he is this good, and he can do these type of things to be there. But it also shows that authentic like paranoia, that authentic anxiety of like how how do I achieve that? How do I get you to love me?
Self-awareness that like he's clearly, like, not to say anything negative about like Atmosphere, but he's not really achieving double platinum status at this point.
Right, absolutely.
So it's like understanding there's all these choices. It's like, how do I become sexy to you again? You know?
Which is very interesting.
And you know, and if I'm just a band-aid, would it be considered bad taste if we should decide to let the ship set sail? If it could be the destination that's destined to fail, and if I was a poor choice, wouldn't have made noise, would you hear me in your voice? Should we be concerned with the future of, or do you think we can turn this into some mutual love? And so he's still really like being pensive and breaking down his relationship with it, and like wondering all the possibilities, almost like he's really considering it, you know? And I don't know, I think it's really cool the way he's managed to personify his relationship with hip-hop like that.
Just to take that a step further, if we go into verse 2, I like how he starts it off. If we was just acquaintances, would we still have this amazing sex?
The answer's always no.
But it's cool, like, if I think about it, acquaintances drops an album, will everybody receive it as amazingly as maybe they used to? Like, we got to think about it, right? Like, let's take Sex as just us reviewing the album. Some albums, we kind of sit there, at least for me, I'm like, dude, holy shit, this is like, whoa, this is crazy, right? So if you think of that, it's like, if I just kind of disappear for a couple of years and I come back and I drop an album, will we still be able to fuck with each other?
But I think it's more like if... So, like, when I hear acquaintances, I picture it against, like, the deep fans, giving that deep love-making session that you would expect. So people who have been with him forever is not necessarily who it is. He's kind of looking at it like, if we didn't have that deep connection, if you just heard this album today and it just came out without the history, would it still pop the way it will because we have that connection? Like, you want that certain thing from me, so it feels nice and comfy. We're super ethereal with it, you know? I mean, that's how I kind of took that side.
No, that's very interesting.
Should we try to wake up and make some pancakes? Should we kind of find a way to combine our campaigns? If this is just a friendship, how would it be any different? Should you be instigating my decision making if it couldn't complement the experience you're chasing? And I guess this is looking at the compatibility and how can we coincide together, because I have my dad rap life over here and y'all are doing your thing over there, and how do they connect? How can we find each other in the middle? Anyway, I thought it was pretty cool. It just kind of ends with a couple more bars that are following in suit. And overall, I thought it was just another deep and interesting song, like this raw emotional confusion. Like, you really get the feeling he's talking about a person until you realize he's talking about his relationship with hip-hop again. And that effect just happens time and time again on this project, and it's really artistically well done. So I give this a 4.5 because the beats also just fills it up and everything's nice on this one.
Just before moving on to the next song, I wanted to also quote another line. Should you still feel like you've got a case to prove, you could tell everybody I'm afraid of you. Now, it's interesting to me to think like how he fears hip-hop.
I don't think he fears hip hop.
Not fear, but like intimidated. Like
I took it like this, the opposite. And if it's the same to y'all, would you please step aside and let me take this fall? Should you feel like you got a case to prove, you can tell everyone I'm afraid of you. So it's like if it doesn't work, it doesn't adapt, it's like you could just say whatever, like blame me for it. Blame me for the failure.
Okay.
It's not going to be your fault, hip hop, but let me take my chance, okay?
Okay.
That's kind of more how I took that one.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that's actually pretty cool. I gave it a 4.5 on 5.
Anyway, the next track is called Romance. We are definitely continuing on with the idea of romance, and it feels like at this point the relationship's escalating a little bit in terms of it. Like he's decided to pursue this little affair with hip hop, kind of continue going with it.
I'm just gonna get my point out of the way because I didn't actually understand this. For me, this was kind of like when I reviewed it by myself, I didn't really have that hip hop idea in mind for every song. So for this, I feel like this song is kind of just when he goes, and this is for the romance. It's the reason that you hold hands, and even though there's no chance, y'all wish that we could slow dance, and this is for the romance. Kind of just feels like he's making a song about falling in love, doing certain things that maybe relationships or couples would do just to have that romance feeling.
So then go through it from the point of trying to drop a hit album, knowing that it's never going to work subconsciously.
Now that's all I'm trying to say for me, because I actually don't have much to say about this song because I'm slightly confused about a lot of the breakdowns. So I gave it a 4 on 5, and I'm gonna.
I mean, to me, that's just it, though. Like, you take that notion of romance, it looks like it's a relationship where everyone's going to go through the motions because you want to go through the motions. So in a sense, putting out an album, trying to recapture that magic or whatever, but you know there's no chance. And then I like how it ends with, I like what she had to say, though. Kind of like flips it. Like, even though it's pointless, you know, she said, we still haven't liberated Mumia, and the name of the stream was Eureka. She synced up the Bluetooth to play Aaliyah, drank myself a drink, tastes like Pruno Sangria. So it almost sounds like, yeah, but there's still a chance here, right? There's still something going on. Aaliyah's still kind of popping. And then, you know, I think that's a weed bar. The name of the strain was Eureka. I don't really know, but it kind of alludes to something else, and I don't know what else it's alluding to, but it kind of sounds like a vibe is being created. They're going to spark one up, have some good time. Nice to meet you, knock on wood. I said, I'm sorry, my English is not so good. She said, it sounded like you're fishing for compassion. I said, you're dressed like an assassin. I like that lines because that's that weird abstract shit that you're not getting from a lot of people. So it's almost like he downplays himself, and he uses some self-deprecating comments like, I'm sorry that my English is not so good, which is a weird thing to say for a guy as grammatical as him, but in a sense it doesn't necessarily match what hip-hop's current vernacular is, right?
Okay.
Like, he ain't litty, he ain't getting up in here, he ain't getting turned. You know, he's using proper English and grammar. And I'm not trying to say that the ebonics of urban hip-hop is not proper English and grammar, but the literal, when you hear proper English, it's boring, finicky English. It doesn't mean good or bad, it's just a literal definition. And then she said, it's ironic that through his proper English, he's saying that my English is not so good. And then she's like, yeah, it sounds like you don't want to adapt to the new vernacular, the new way it's supposed to be.
To me, it kind of sounds like a commentary still. Like, somebody who's that smart or like that has that ability with words is also feeling like, sorry, I don't talk proper English because you have a different dialect.
But it's more like, I can't dumb it down to match what people want, so I'm sorry. But then he's like, you're dressed like an assassin. Like, the way you put yourself out is really to clip me, in a sense. And then brings up Trinity, who I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. It's kind of cool, though. It reminds me of Italy. And then goes this whole little fucking thing about a layover in Rome, and he gets distracted, and we never really left the airport or anything. And that kind of, to me, is like getting so close to this romantic ideal but never really getting there, right? Just on the cusp of it. And if you look at Atmosphere's career, I would say that they got really close to popping in a mainstream kind of way, but it was like just shy of it. Like, I never met a mainstream fan that knew an Atmosphere, but I also don't know any underground fans from that era that don't know Atmosphere. So, you know, like, they're in that tier. And then, you know, trying to send faulty signals, went to the bathroom, climbed out the window, and it just kind of sounds like everything's a little sad now after this whole situation. So, like, the whole trying out this relationship maybe isn't going to work. He's just trying to be kind of pure with it. And it sounds so much like a person just almost begging us, the fan, to consider them again. And give them a reason to keep at it. Although I feel like they know they're really great. It's just, are they really able to fit in to this current landscape?
But I also like how you can also kind of connect with it with your own experiences. Like, it's not just like when I listen to this, I can also sit there and be like, yeah, this is like this is what would happen maybe if I was on a date with somebody that started to go south. Like, if I just met somebody online or whatever, we were on a date and it just started to not whatever, I might have to duck out or whatever. Like, I like that relatability that comes with a lot of the music that we're getting, which is what I think about this whole like dad rap movement, where it's like, wow, like, this shit happens to you, this shit happens to me, like, how can I learn from it? Like, I'm really enjoying that type of side of things for this. My only other comment I have.
And then you get the second verse, which it's like, hey, mama, are your kids at school? You and I should go find a swimming pool. Better if it comes with a hotel room. The others check in before noon. So it's almost like he's reconnecting with hip-hop, who's now growing up and has its kids and whatnot. And he's like, hey, remember the old days? Why don't we go find a cool hotel that'll let us have a little quickie before noon and bang it out?
You said something a little earlier, right? Like, kind of rekindling with having, like, trying to get his wife to... about like having sex when he's not ready and she's not ready and whatnot. It kind of seems like that's where it is. Like, he's kind of looking at his wife like, hey, are the kids home? Do you want to kind of try to get it all?
It could be about his wife.
Right? Like, that's kind of how I looked at it.
I feel like in my head, in the story, this tangent is him seducing hip-hop for the affair that he's having.
I see that.
And so, cops caught a bad tip and raided the rooftop was an interesting line, because I think it's commenting on maybe how the police have or different situations have locked up key players and fucked some shit up in the game.
Mm-hmm.
She opened up a roll of quarters into a tube socks. All of y'all are posers. Go and kick some moon rocks.
Which is interesting,
because
tube sock and like using it as a weapon, I'm assuming.
And then some old school shit. But now everyone's getting fucked up on moon rocks because even their weed is like kind of like. I mean, moon rocks is. I think they're overpriced. That's all I can say about moon rocks. It is just not worth the money at any value level unless you're trying to get fucked up for the sake of it. It might be the joy that they're looking for. I might be the boy you mistook me for. I might float across the ocean on horseback just to get closer to your outdated format. And I kind of like that, like looking at, again, the landscape of it, how he's so much closer to the past and everything else. And he might be cool, but he also might be more like the gecko from Geico, which is kind of
I like the Star Wars line. I might be the droid that they're looking for.
Yeah, it's really fun, man. And then it just kind of ends out, and you're left with like just feeling like things have advanced. And then there's some French at the end, and it sounds like describing the experience of like hearing a song in the movie. And then when the end credits, and I'm translating it in my head because nobody wrote it down, so it sounded like at the end of the movie credits is playing, and then that excitement when you realize what song it is, and then you go hear the song for the first time. And that's the most I got. But it definitely had to do with movie credits and finishing a movie and hearing a song in the movie. So, yeah, I guess it kind of has that romantic vibe of like the movie ends and you're kind of, trying to recapture it all. But I give it a 4.35. I'd say it's great, but again, it's like just a little bit out of my interest set in a couple, like, would I go back and listen to it moments. What'd you give it?
Gave it a 4.
All right, so the next one is called Dearly Beloved. I feel like this one's cool too, and follows a little bit farther along. The same kind of tones, only this time he brings some friends. Now what's a player to do? People label me rude. I just want to be inside you like your favorite food. I really like that because it's a little bit rude to kind of go up to somebody today and tell them you want to smash. But he does want to be inside them, as in putting his penis in their vagina, but the way that their favorite food goes in their belly, which is also inside of them.
But I mean, you can also kind of take it like his music and just resonating inside your brain, and just like how it touches your soul being inside of you. Like,
even though people, and the way he talks, I could see how people think he's rude. Like he's just got an attitude, and I don't feel that way. I feel like he's a real motherfucker. Mm-hmm. Dearly beloved, let's go crazy. Purple rain on your parade and let me kiss your Paisley Park. You give me, I don't even know what the fuck that means. I think it's what is it? Prince sings Purple Rain.
Right, but Paisley Park, I kind of think of it as like a little bushy bush.
Anyway, you give me a condition of the heart. Let's pretend we're married just to rip it all apart. It's a love bizarre, like do me baby, like you never done before. Who's that lady? Cab driver. My Uber says arriving soon. And I kind of like how that line works because like who's that lady could be like this hip hop again, but it could also be lady cab driver. Like holy shit, it's a lady cab driver and my Uber's coming. Like when the fuck does that happen that you actually get a girl Uber driver?
Paisley Park is Prince's extraordinary private estate and production complex.
Fair enough. So that bar made sense. I'm not really that into Prince. I know. You guys can get mad. I'm at the Cherry and a Spoon under Cherry Moon from Alphabet Street to the Electric Avenue. So I like how it's all this older shit that he's referencing in these freaking bar-driven ways. And it's all kind of like, reflecting on the modern era. So like mixing Prince and Uber, like old and new.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for the girl with the drag on tattoo. I thought that was an interesting commentary on gender norms and stuff, but also the girl with the dragon tattoo is a fucking great book.
It's a decent movie.
I don't care about the movie. I didn't even watch it. I just read the books.
Books.
Yeah, a reading motherfucker. And it's a sign of the times, but sometimes it snows in April, which is another interesting point because climate change and shit really has kind of shifted shit up where it really snows in April like every fucking year in Montreal. I can tell you that much.
Right.
Let's play in the sunshine. A contrast to that because when you have that sunshine, take advantage of it. And I take a sip and pass into the cup. Try mini apple pie. I love the way he says that because it kind of sounds like Minneapolis.
Yep.
You can hear the doves cry. And I'm like, damn, this is like a really great fucking verse. Just the way it sounds and overall, it feels like if you consider where we're at with this romance relationship, like it's maybe not the best thing, but they're almost letting it burn down and embracing it at the same time. Then we have Musab, who I think is on Rhymesayers, and I'm really not sure. I've heard him before. And then he's pretty dope. Give me proper hug. Let's dance and celebrate modern love. We could shout and let it all out. And I like that because it's a Tears for Fears bar. So in the sense, he's mentioning modern love and a Tears for Fears song, kind of referencing that old and new shit coming in. But what happened in the past is not what this is about. So again, pointing out that this is still about the present and how to move forward. You come a long way and it's good to see. But here's an SOS. Just be good to me. And I'll be good to you. Look what we can do. Some things like get together and cook some food. That's fine. Rest of the verse is okay. Does a different strokes kind of line, whatever. And then his voice is like super deep and cool. I like it. And then Muja Messiah comes in for the third verse. And he's a star like an alien on Mars. Thought I made it far till you came and raised the bar. Made me want to play guitar, but I gotta play it off because I can't play a lick, but I play it off slick. And I kind of think he's taking some shots at Lil Wayne a little bit there. Mm-hmm. And a couple others who went down that point. But I like the point where, that whole thing just sounds like shots at Lil Wayne from the aliens, all of it. But it's the idea that like we came and accomplished, we did it all, we got our numbers up, and then as soon as we achieved success by what it used to be, now this is success. And I'm like, fuck, that's powerful,
So just so that, because I got really interested in the mini apple pie, from CBS Minnesota, best apple pie in Minnesota. Apple pies have come to have a versatile number of applications in the kitchen. The state of Minnesota enjoys a fine list of family-owned restaurants, bakeries, and specialty places for feasting on delicious apple pie. So I think it's like a thing for them, which is why the bar maybe makes sense.
Okay.
I was very interested in that, and I think maybe some of the viewers might have been too. Cool.
Anyway.
Moving on.
And then, I don't know. I don't have a lot more to point out. I just think I just think it's interesting how they do the old and new commentary thing. Like we're some old guys, we have these influences, and we're trying to understand how to fit it all into this world. And then there's more French. C'est la fin de fil, comment ils annoncent qu'ils vont faire une chanson qu'ils ont encore jamais fait. Wait, this seems like the French from the other shit.
I think the other one didn't have the French. I think this is the French one.
Oh. Whatever. Elle est vache émue, elle tracte et les premières notes de guitare, tu en reconnais les chansons, c'est pas le problème. Oh, it is. This is the French. I'm pretty sure it's on the other song, though. Anyway, it's here in the lyrics, so I can actually Google translate that for you, because I'm not going to trust my fucking translation skills.
As he's looking that up, I do want to just give my points about this song. It was, for me, it kind of felt like they were just each individually, the artists were praising just the woman in their life, or at least a specific woman. The way that, like, Slug kind of came in and wanted to, be with you and be there. And then Musab for me kind of came in and was like, nah, give me a proper hug. Let's dance and celebrate modern love. We could shout and let it all out, but what happened in the past is not what it is about. Like, it kind of feels like he's trying to rekindle and trying to forget whatever negative fight or experience may have happened with this so-and-so person. But when I think about it, I also kind of guess that this is about maybe their relationship with hip hop as well, how they like maybe had their ups and downs, maybe some career falls, some career rises, and they're just trying to keep moving forward and not give up, which is really, really cool. I like the way Musab went, you're breaking, baby, you're breaking, baby, you look confused, I'm breaking too, electric boogaloo. I just like the way he said it. The first time I heard it, it was just like, that was funny. Like, just the way he said boogaloo was just fun and it was really on point. And then Muja Messiah did really well too. I like how he went, baby, I'm a star like an alien on Mars. Thought it made it far till you came and raised the bar. Made me want to play guitar, but I gotta play it off because I can't play a lick, but I'll play it off slick. So for me, I kind of feel like he's expressing that he wants to eat her out, but he doesn't really know how to, but he's got to play it off like he knows to make her happy in terms of like making her play the guitar and all this stuff. So I really did enjoy this song overall. I thought it was really cool. They all kind of stand up nice next to each other. And now I'm going to figure out what the interlude was.
Oh, yeah. I was completely wrong. Keep in mind, I speak French pretty well conversationally, but this was some faded-ass French in a song. You know at the end of the movie how they announce they are going to make a song they've never done before, and they explain that it is the thread of your whatever the song will tell you all? This is Google Translate. She is really moved. She attracts on the first guitar notes, and you recognize the song. It's no problem, and you see that it's to say that discovers that this song for the first time, and at the same time testifies to the mythical artist that Press becomes on stage because my discomfort at the feeling of being here as a chicken villain. So, yeah, I don't know. That's the Google Translate of it. I got the feeling it's like, like when you're looking at the song's trying to be creative. It's supposed to be this most amazing new thing, and you finally hear it, and it turns out to just be complete bullshit. Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of what the commentary is. Anyway, that's the end of part one. Woo! Part one's over because we're halfway through the album, and we're going to go record part two and whatnot. So we'll catch you back real soon. I don't remember if I gave my grade on this, so in case I didn't, it's a 4.5 because this one's pretty fire. It's 4. Pretty good. And then, yeah, so we look forward to hearing what you have to say in the comments, whether you feeling this dad rap, if you like our theories on this, if you think we're completely wrong, let us know what the truth is, and we look forward to seeing what you have to think there. So special thanks to the patrons, this Milk Dempsey, Chris Prada, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black, Hurricane, Linda Williams, Coney Sparson, Scribble. The support we do helped us get a new camera, helped us get on the Spotify. I'm working on a Squarespace stuff now. I actually started processing orders with them and shit, so the Behind That Suit domain should be there in a day or so. I digress. So they're really dope, and they get to tell us what albums they want to see us review. So if you want to get a request done quickly from us, Patreon's the best way. Otherwise, it goes on the list, and it takes as long as it takes. So yeah, they're amazing. They give us a lot of spirits. They're like the people that are the love interest of our Atmosphere story. I hope that was not taken poorly by them. Anyway, they're all dope. I think I forgot to say like and subscribe. You know how it is to be on YouTube. We make music. That shit's on this channel. You can look up Holden, Stephan, Roy, The Alternative Grind, and then you can look up the song Hurricane and hear Chris Chrome's awesome verse. Let us know what you think. On that note, live long and prosper.